Hello everybody, welcome back to Prevent-a-Thon 4. Hope you had a lovely break. And before we get started with SuperSpec Rallycross, don't worry, Viper is here, ready and raring to go. I just want to have a quick chat to you about the Prevent-It workshop. It's a free workshop that educates and empowers adults to take action and help prevent and respond to child sexual abuse. The evidence-based education workshop was developed by researchers at the University of Alberta, and research shows it significantly improves attitudes, knowledge, and behavior. The Prevent-It workshop offers hope to help prevent child sexual abuse, which of course is what this marathon is all about. This hope comes from the knowledge that adults who take it can become more supportive of children and begin using more behaviors that are believed to reduce children's vulnerability to sexual abuse. The Prevent-It workshop educates adults to take action through gaining knowledge to help prevent and respond to child sexual abuse. That is the thing that we are raising money for. And here to keep you entertained whilst you get those donations in, we have ViperUK with SuperSpec Rallycross. Take it away, my friend.
Hello, I'm Viper, also known as ViperUK. This is SuperSpec Rallycross, made by the guys over at Volume Games, I believe. Yes, it is right. Thank God I got that bit right. But we're going to be doing all Grand Prix today. Just to quickly mention a few things off the bat. There's 5 Grand Prix, 4 races each over a mixture of different countries and things like that. Now, the way Rallycross works, we'll get into it first and foremost, but you can see here we have a variety of cars, and you'll be racing up to 5 other opponents on the track. And this has a mix of classic cars and some like modern cars, so you have like the classic stuff here, the Ford RS200, Rallycross and so on. We're going to be using the Subaru, my personal favourite, and we're going to be doing the first Grand Prix, and we're going to be playing these on, out of the 3 difficulties, we're going to be playing on the faster difficulty, and yeah, we'll get right into it. So also the soundtrack's pretty good, and would highly recommend keeping an ear out for it. For now though, we'll get into it, so I'll start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so what is Rallycross? Rallycross is circuit racing, usually with 5 or 6 cars on track at once. The idea is simple. Contact is allowed, but not extreme contact. There is a bit of a contact sport in terms of cars. So you will see us immediately going for... We're going to be able to pull away from the AI. Now, obviously, we're going to be cutting corners a little bit just to get ourselves ahead. Now, there isn't a like in scale damage model for this. However, you can see that we're able to knock cones over and things like that. So this game is very much a Micro Machines kind of game. For those that may remember those back in the day. I don't believe there's been any Micro Machine game for a while, but I played this over on Steam Next Fest. It showed it off. I believe it was back in March, April time, something like that. And yeah, the whole game got me hooked. I mean, it's very simple. It's an indie game for those wondering. It's really nice to see what the indie market has been able to achieve, whether it's car games or action games or horror games even. So one of the main things about Rallycross is you do this, which is called a Joker Lap. Now, in this game, we don't have to complete the Joker Lap. However, I'm going to be showing you guys the Joker Lap on every single track. And basically, I'm going to be doing this run legit, because it turns out it's not that much slower compared to doing it legit. So, first and foremost, how does Rallycross work? Well, as I said, it's 6 cars on a track, all fighting for supremacy. But also what's going to happen is we're going to be having, on one of the laps, at least one lap, you take the Joker. Now, you're only allowed to take it once. You can take it on the first lap, on the last lap, it doesn't matter. But it's usually a slight variation of the track, so it might be faster, it might be slower. So it really depends on whether you want to take it on the first lap or on the last one. So by taking it on the first lap, when the cars are at their slowest, it means that what we're able to do is we're able to get that out of the way, because in some cases taking the Joker can actually prove to be slower. However, on the first lap you're still getting up to speed, so it's kind of seen as like the superior strategy to do that. Now in real life the cars would be a lot bigger, surprisingly, and way that the game is based, as I said, very basic in its structure, in terms of how many cars are on track. And I do think, for like I said, for an indie game, it has a nice, graphical style to it. Just to kind of mention a few of the cars off like top of my head. So Rallycross was very big back in the 1980s, 1990s. It's still very popular today. And funnily enough, for those that may remember a certain driver called Ken Block, he didn't gain his name from Rallycross, he gained it from something called Gymkhana, which is an entirely different thing in amongst itself. However, the developers must have been very big fans of Ken Block, because what they ended up doing was they did a detriment to him, and basically said, like a obituary, I think it is, where it's like, it's dedicated to his memory sort of thing. I believe he passed away not this year, but last year, I think early 2023, I think right at the start of 2023, in a snowmobile accident, which is very unfortunate. But he was well known in the Rallycross community, and obviously most notably the Gymkhana community. So for us, this depends on when we want to take this shortcut, so to speak. It can provide you advantage. You can use it to get ahead of the AI. So for us, we're going to take it on the second lap here. It doesn't matter too much whether I take it on the first or the last lap, as I said. You'll notice at the bottom left corner of the screen that it shows you who's in first, second, and so on down to 6th place, but it also shows a little crown. The crown is a significant icon, because if it's white, it means you haven't taken the Joker. However, if it's green, it means you have taken the Joker. Now, on some of the tracks, the Joker variation is shorter. However, if you take the Joker on more than one occasion for more than one of the laps, then what will end up happening is you'll get that lap time will be disallowed. So in this game, the way it works is you get 6 points for a win, you get a point for setting the fastest lap, and you get a point for doing the Joker lap. Now, because you're doing the Joker lap, you might be able to, again, it is a bit more of a strategy whether you want to get that extra point or not. Now, what we're going to do in this is, like I said, we're going to play this legit. We're going to do this as maximize as many points as possible, and go from there. So you'll see in this race, for example, here, that we've got on screen right now. So this is 7 laps long. The track itself is tiny. However, the Joker lap, you'll notice, is a lot longer. Now, overall, the Joker laps add maybe about 30 seconds to the run, if that. So that's absolutely nothing. This run's expected to be within like the 37 and a bit minute barrier. So a couple of things to mention. So you have a variety of different countries that you'll be racing through and doing racing on. But one of the main things is how they've named some of the... I'm going to take the Joker this lap. How they've named the cups that we're going to do, the Grand Prix, so to speak. So what they have named them is, this first one is named Fuel, the second one is named Spark, the third one is named Gear, the fourth one is named RPM, and the fifth one is named Champ. Now, if you're a bit of a car nut like myself, then you may know that, obviously, that's our fuel. Create a spark with the combustion in the engine, obviously gear, gearbox, RPM, how high the engines can usually revs per minute is what RPM stands for, and obviously champ being, you can beat this, you'll be officially the champion. So that is the first one done and dusted. Now I will actually need to look as to how much I'm winning by, because I'm doing the Joker laps and everything, so I'm gaining extra points. I'm going to win all the races as best as I can. Now, in this first race here, now if I was to do this not legit, I would be using the Joker every single lap. So you can see here that that provides a huge advantage compared to the AI, like an absolute massive advantage. So I have now done my Joker lap. So now I have gained a huge lead over the AI. However, the AI now can take that Joker whenever they like. And if they take the Joker, they will be lapping about 1.5 seconds faster than me. However, as I said, it is about strategy. It is, do you play it risky and do the joker on the first lap and hope that you can make up the gap to the front over the remaining laps, or do you try and pull out a lead over the whole race and do it on the last lap in the hopes that you can still hold off the AI? You can see here that the AI has used it. Some of the AI's already used it, and we've got 2 left to go, and we're actually going to lap some of these guys, which is quite funny. I didn't think I would be lapping them. So a bunch of them guys were like, oh, might go for it, we'll see. They did, so now all the AI has done it. So you may recognise as well, now what's significant about this car that I'm driving, so I'm most known for the not the irregular person that might be watching, is that I mainly do racing game speedruns first and foremost. And one of the key games that I've done runs of is the Colin McRae Rally series, most notably Colin McRae Rally 1 and 2. And one of the key drivers and key cars that I absolutely love from rallying was the Prevent-a-Thon. This is what this car is. So unsurprisingly, I picked it for this. But not only that, my all-time favourite rally driver is Colin McRae. He was synonymous with driving Subarus and won his World Rally Championship in 1995 driving a Subaru Legacy. It wasn't Subaru Impreza eventually, and he did drive the most notable one, which is the one that you're seeing here. So believe it or not, the car models themselves, like I said, they are all based off real life models. So some of the cars that are in the car list, so you have the Subaru Impreza, which is what we're driving. There's the VW Beetle GTI, the Audi A3, I think it's S3 actually that they used for Rallycross. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 3, Audi Quattro at Ford RS200, Ford Escort Mark 1 from the 80s, MG Metro 6R4, what was the others? There was another one, I'm trying to remember the name of it. Oh, Citroen DS3, because I've just spotted it, and a Citroen Zara as well. And the funny thing is, some of the best looking cars of the WRC were usually set in the 80s and the 1980s and 1990s. For those that are not aware or not up to speed with their rallying culture, so basically back in the 1980s, the World Rally Championship had a Maniac car class called Group B. It was known as one of the best eras of rallying, alongside the Group A era, so the 1990s rallying days, and it had cars that could produce over 500 horsepower, which was absolutely insane for the time. You can imagine these four-wheel drive 500 horsepower monsters thrashing it through streets. It was just absolutely bonkers, to put it blunt. And yeah, they did it extremely well. It was really, really good. And yeah, like I said, it was a very substantial time for the Rally Championship. The 1990s saw a new age come about with the likes of Subaru, Mitsubishi, Toyota, and eventually the likes of Citroen and so on entered the fray. Now Citroen is quite substantial because Citroen played a massive part in the World Rally Championship in the mid-2000s. They are most well known through one particular rally driver known as Sébastien Loeb. He was a French rally driver, and the reason why he was substantial, why Citroen became such a well-known name in the WRC, was because he has the record for the most titles won in the World Rally Championship, but he also has the most records, the most titles won back to back. He won the World Rally Championship for 9 years in a row. From 2004 to 2013, I believe, which to this day it's still not been passed. To make things even more funny, it was a rally driver by the name of Sébastien Ogier, who I believe is a 6-time World Rally Champion these days. And when I think there was the like in terms of like the modern VRC cars, I don't know too well, but I believe Tanak, who's a Lithuanian, won the World Rally Championship. I think it was in 2018. When he won it, won the title, it was the first time since 2003 that a rally champion was not called Sebastian. Which is quite a funny statistic, but also an unbelievable statistic. So the fact that Sebastian Loeb stopped winning championships only for another Sebastian to come over and start winning was just unbelievable, and it was a very interesting coincidence. But yeah, so in terms of the cars and everything like that, like I said, it was a very mad time to say the least. So, as I was mentioning, it has a very big track list. So we get to go to Latvia, the game that a country that is not really seen in games full stop. I don't really remember any time when Latvia has been in a racing game or just any game in general. I would guess it's maybe something like Uncharted, possibly, that it's been in, but I don't really think that's right, to be honest. But yeah, if we've got any messages or anything you'd like to say, Nick, feel free to go right ahead.
Thank you, Viper. We currently have a bid war live for the very next run after SuperSpec Rallycross. It is the costume bid war for Backpack Hero, and there are 3 different bid wars for the 3 different characters that will be ran. So obviously you can donate for whichever bid war you like. You can split your bid as well. If you want to bid $10 and split that 3 ways, I should have picked a number that was divisible by 3, and split that 3 ways for the 3 different bid wars, you absolutely can do that. Just make sure when you put your donation in, you click on the incentives at the bottom, select which one you like, and make sure that your donation goes towards it. So keep those donos coming in. The next one will be the end of my hosting block, and I'd love it if we could get to $600 before the end of Backpack Heroes. So keep those donos coming in, folks.
All right, thank you very much, Nick. And with that, that is the end of the Spark Cup. So with that, we've got our championship done and dusted. And we're on to gear. So we're immediately heading back to sunny England, although I don't know how it's sunny, given right now it's raining outside my window. But yeah, so what are the things to kind of mention? Also, some of the things I can kind of mention here. Also, the Ford Fiesta's a car in this game, I've got to mention one. I knew there was one I'd not mentioned before. So, in terms of, like I said, in terms of the game structure, you can pick any car you like to race with that's unlocked. You unlock further cars as you go through the game. And like I said, I think at the start, the only cars available are the VW Beetle and the Audi S3 lookalike car. I think the Ford Fiesta as well. As you go through, you unlock the other cars as well. Most notably, to unlock these, I think it's due to, well, memory. I think it's just a case of doing certain cups. There is actually a randomized cup, which acts as like an extra Grand Prix to an extent. However, given the fact that that is completely random, we don't include that in the category, given the fact that you could get done over badly by a wrong like track randomized. I don't know, like basically the tracks are always random in the random cup, and what I'm saying is that if we time that, then it would have a fair bit of RNG, whereas we've stuck it to be as simple as possible. I was trying to mention before, so on the races there is actually 3 different layouts per country. So on some of these we're doing like, so there's like France North, for example. But you might have, it might be a short layout, you might have a medium layout, or you might have a long layout. I do know that as you go through that the layouts get a little bit longer, some are short by default. So I'm going to not take a joke on this lap. fast enough. But yeah, one of the main things to mention is, like I said, Rallycross is a pretty cool sport to watch. Truth be told, it is a fairly cool sport to watch. I'm not sure what it's like these days, but what I've seen, there is cars taking corners on two wheels to keep in front. There's a lot of argy-bargy, and it is quite the spectacle of a motorsport to watch. And would recommend giving it a watch on YouTube, but also not only that, I would also recommend watching, if you can find it somewhere, footage of the 1980s/1990s Rallycross. So I was mentioning before about this Group B era, which is one of the many golden eras of the WRC. It's seen as like the main golden era of the WRC. But what happened was, once Group B was, I won't say how it ended, but it ended with tragedy somewhere. And essentially what had come of it was that Group B rallying finished. And when it was the end of the line, the cars had nothing. It was like, oh, okay, there's no, there's no championship or anything to participate in, because they've just been, they've been participating for like the last 3 or 4 years, and it was very mad hectic, and the cars were doing, like I said, have 500 brake horsepower and stuff like that. As I said, ended in tragedy, unfortunately. It's a shame, really, because the Group B era is spectacular to watch. If you ever see clips of it, it's very, very cool. Also, not only that, as we get the joke out of the way early, that one of the key parts about Group B was that once the cars were somewhat put into retirement, they actually didn't disappear at all. It never went away, because the world of Rallycross got them involved, and Rallycross was still a popular thing within the Group B era of cars anyway. However, since it had now disappeared from the Rally Championship, since it had now disappeared from the World Rally Championship, what it also meant was it's disappeared from one of the main circuses of the motorsport world. Now it's going to go to another one that is even more chaotic and hectic. Because, like I said, as I was mentioning before, it was the whole, in terms of what cars would race around. So some of the most popular cars, by the way, for the Group B era included the likes of the Audi Quattro, the Ford RS200, the MG Metro 6R4, the Lancia Delta S4, the Lancia 037. And then when you got to like the Group A era, which was the era after it, you had cars like the Subaru Impreza, the Toyota Corolla, the Toyota Celica, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. The Peugeot 206 eventually came into it in the late 90s. There was also Skoda, Hyundai, and many others entered the fray when it came down to doing the to participate in. And like I said, in terms of the championship itself, it's very cool to see so many different manufacturers enter. It is a shame that a lot of manufacturers disappeared during the mid to late 2000s. But funnily enough, one of WRC's most dominant forces these days, which is Hyundai, never used to be dominant. In fact, they were absolutely rubbish. They used to have a car, which was the Hyundai Coupe, which they participated in the Formula 2 WRC class in the mid to late 1990s. They took a step up with the Hyundai Coupe in 2000, I believe, into the WRC, one of which was famously driven by Alistair McRae, which was Colin McRae's brother. And yeah, it makes you think about, nowadays they're seen as quite a good force of, quite a good team, quite a good force, and so on. Well, again, it very much depends on who you ask about. Is Hyundai good? Are they not so good? And so on. So I haven't even mentioned yet one of the key things about this run is it's decided by how fast that the AI will cross the line. After 20 seconds, the game goes into a menu anyway. Now, my theory goes that if you play on the fastest difficulty and you're fast enough, you'll be able to actually have the AI finish the race faster, and it'll mean that you'll save time overall. So you'll notice that half the time I just sat around waiting. That's because I have to wait till the AI either crosses the line or 20 seconds is up. If 20 seconds isn't up, then unfortunately that's it. There's not a lot you can do. We're going to do the Joker here on this first lap. No one else has done it, so that's good. Which means that I can now do the other few laps. Like I said, firstly speaking, so this came out, as I was saying earlier on, this came out on Steam Next Fest, and I believe you can pick it up still for just a couple of bucks. And like I said, it's an indie game, and if I'm being honest, you know, if you wish to do so, definitely, if you can, definitely try and support the indie games market. There's been a ton of fantastic designers, game creators, and also some great art styles as well. And it's nice to see so many different art styles, but also like old gameplay aspects that the AAA gaming industry just misses the mark on these days. Indie games seem to do it better than they do, which is kind of embarrassing, but at the same time really great to see, because it actually gives indie titles a very strong hope of standing up against the big man, sort of thing. Would highly recommend it. Yeah, feel pretty good this game to try. Like I said, it's very simple in its structure, and like I said, in terms of the speedrun, it is not that long. It is very simple. If you did like the Micro Machines games that used to come out, then I guarantee that you will probably enjoy this. I can't say how much you'll enjoy this, but personally speaking, I think you'll feel very much on the sense of Micro Machines justified sort of thing. That sort of thing. Plus as well, the handling, it's arcade-ish, it's exactly what you want it to be. And I do know that games like this, I forget what the word is for games like this, but it's like view on how you look at it. I think it's isometric, I want to say.
Isometric would be the correct term, yes.
Is that the right one, Nick?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Glad I got that right. But yeah, it's often seen as, so most racing games will have you take place, like the camera will take place behind the car and so on, which, don't get me wrong, is a great idea. It's basically the industry standard, has been for quite a long time. So to get games like this, it's not to say that there hasn't been games like this, because like I said, Micro Machines has done it. In terms of like the modern racing indie game industry, we have had some amazing games come out in the last few years. Just to name a few, so obviously SuperSpec Rallycross came out earlier this year. We had a game released about 2 weeks ago called Victory Heat Rally. Would highly recommend checking that out, especially if you like anime style sort of thing. Great looking game in terms of art style. Other ones that I have mentioned, Art of Rally comes to mind most notably. Which came out just during, I think it was on the first year of COVID, 2020, I think it was. And again, isometric, except instead of you racing against AI, you'll race against the clock, and it'll be up to you to beat the stage as fast as possible. A couple of other games to mention as well from the indie game scene. So there is Rush Rally 3, Rush Rally Origins, again 2 more indie games which I can highly recommend. That if you can play it, then absolutely amazing stuff. And one in particular, which got a sequel. I do believe someone named Ventilo, who's in my community, has run it, as well as Chotu, someone who may have appeared on here before, I'm not sure. To put a long story short, there's a game called Super Wooden GP, and there's one called Super Wooden GP2. And these are isometric racing games, but Super Wooden GP2 in particular, which released, I believe, last year, has an interesting aspect to it. in that it is a isometric rally racing game that includes doing typical rally stages, but also circuit racing as well, and includes many different eras of cars, over 190 cars, which is again amazing. It has weather effects, and also its interface, strangely enough, was inspired by a certain famous PlayStation 1 game, Gran Turismo 2. I think it's Gran Turismo 1 and 2. It has a very similar like menu structure in terms of its art, in terms of the career mode. Would highly recommend checking them out. Like I said, there is speedruns for them as well. Victory Heat Rally is like the new kid on the block. But as I said, in terms of how that works, there's also Inertial Drift as well, I believe, which is also a indie game, which is made by the same developers as Art of Rally as well. And yeah, honestly, like genuinely speaking, a lot of people think that, in terms of the racing community anyway, tend to not think that we've had like that many great games. I'm like, yeah, if you look at the AAA games, yeah, they're busted as anything, and you know, it's not a great look, to be honest. And they're charging like top dollar, you know, they're charging you guys like $60 to play a broken I mean, what's new? But you know, they're charging you $60 to play one of their games that they have worked years on when it breaks in the first week, that are always badly optimized and so on. And then you've got these indie games that you can pay a fraction of the cost. Like I said, you can pick this game up for a couple of bucks and immediately get more fun out of playing this than, say, I don't know, the latest Forza Motorsport, for example. Now that's a bit of a hot take, but what I'm saying is, sometimes you just have to open your eyes, have a look around, and you never know what sort of games you'll find. Genuinely speaking, and I have encountered, in probably the last 2 or 3 years, I will be honest, that I often felt that indie games were rubbish, were never good, and that there's nothing good that came out of them. Only to be told that certain games that I played were indie games. I was like, huh? Wait, what? It's like, yeah. Do you not know they're indie games? I was like, no. Yeah, they're indie games. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty neat. So, moving into the last cup. This is the Champ Cup. And like I said, we'll be doing the last 4 races, and time will be when I cross the line on the last race, but we'll get to that. We're about 7 or 8 minutes away yet, so no good. No bother, sorry. In the meantime, Nick, have you got anything you want to talk about with the charity, perhaps?
Absolutely. We are, of course, raising money for Little Warriors. Did you know? Since 2014, the Little Warriors Be Brave Ranch by Ray Labonte and family has helped hundreds of children, youth, and families overcome the profound impacts of their child sexual abuse trauma. Their safe, secure, multimodal, and culturally inclusive program consists of a 1-year combined on-site and outpatient interventions, programming that's designed to reduce mental health related issues today and enrich future outcomes. So what could be a better cause than getting money in to help Little Warriors continue that fantastic work? Don't forget, the end of this, when this run ends, we will very shortly be closing our bid war for the character choice, for the costume choice, I should say, costume choices. 3rd time's the charm, for Backpack Hero. So if you do want to see that Beach Bud costume for CR8, or maybe it's the sailor for Purse, or perhaps the scientist, the purple scientist, specifically purple scientist for Satchel, then make sure you get your bids in now, because that bid war will be coming to a close very, very soon.
No problem, thank you very much. We've only got a couple of races to go, but just whilst I'm thinking ahead, so funnily enough, we have a so the Colin McRae community is a type 1 bunch. I say type bunch, that you know they're a great bunch of people made up of people from all over. as a race game community, and we came together about 6 years ago to create an event called Prevent-a-Thon. Currently submissions are still open for it, so basically it's a racing game speedrun event that myself and a bunch of other people run. I just kind of shamelessly plug in this one, but yeah, we usually run an event every year, and put it blunt, yeah, it's gone down really well with the racing game communities over like the last few years, and it has grown little by little. We've decided to run a second event this year, which is called A Blast from the Past, and it is allowing racing games from the good old days. So basically games released before 2000, so we'll see how that goes on. So that is running on the 25th/26th of November. And if you wish to submit to it, you can do. We have no Angus page and everything, and the server, of course, the Discord server. And obviously, if you want to follow us on Blue Sky, you always can do. I'm kind of getting that out there now, whilst I've got time and whilst I'm still thinking ahead here. It also probably is worth mentioning as well, just real quick, about my side of things when it comes to like socials and things like that. So, for those that don't know, like I said earlier on, this kind of proves everything that you need to know. But yeah, I do racing game speedruns, but I have known to run other games as well that aren't speedrunning. So I run games such as Elmo's Letter Adventure. I'm not proud of running, but anyhow, and other games as well. So we have like Die Hard Trilogy in there, and on known occasion I have run a few other different games as well. I've run a game called Geno Panic, which is a indie Metroidvania-like game, which I'd highly recommend people to check out. Again, another indie game, and in terms of its art style and gameplay and its replayability, it is really good for me to play it over and over. It gets better when you play it as a speedrun, which is also really good. But that's a different game entirely. So you can usually find me, obviously over on Discord usually. But I do have a YouTube channel, which is known as Viper Racing. You probably have to look for Viper Racing 7 or something to find mine, given there's a few named that. Yes, I know Viper Racing is the name of a racing game from 1998, but regardless, you can find any videos that I put up, speedrun or not, they're all there. In terms of my main socials, I'm on Blue Sky. I think a lot of people know what that is by now. It had a big boost in like the last 2 weeks. We're not getting into that, but the point being is that, yeah, if you want to find me, my socials are YouTube, Discord, and Blue Sky. And yeah, we're going to be coming on to the last race once we get across the line here for Portugal. You might have seen me before. A lot of people here may have seen me before in other racing events, but other speedrun events, because I have participated in quite a few, not just this year, but in general. So my name does kind of get about a little bit, as I'm sure Nick knows. And yeah, we're going to get into, this is the last race. The time is going to be when I cross the line for this race. So we're actually going to use the, what we're going to do here is we're going to use the Joker on the first lap to get that gone. Now, I'm also going to be able to, I thought I might be able to bounce off him or something, but I didn't. Okay, so even the AI bounces off it, that's interesting. But yeah, whilst I'm thinking ahead, just want to give a few mentions to the, like I said, the Prix Rally community, the Prevent-a-Thon team, putting on a great job every year. Prevent-a-Thon, of course, for accepting me to do this run. And one notable special person, she was on 2 runs ago, Broken Hyperlink, my partner in crime, for being so loving and supportive of everything I do, and always being there for me, and I generally wouldn't know what I would do without her. So, yeah. Right, so we're on to the last lap. Means all we've got to do now is get ourselves across the line, and that will be it. The time is coming up very, very shortly, and time. The 57-13. So we're gonna wait for the we've got to wait for the AI to finish as well, but that's fine. I don't mind waiting for the AI to finish here. This is all good. We're even gonna follow them all the way to the end. There we go. And just to prove it, there we go. We're first.
First place.
That's it. That is SuperSpec Rallycross. You can do a few other things as well in this game. So Grand Prix is the main one. There are IL leaderboards for the time trials, or if there's not, it should be. There's a split screen because this game supports up to 4-player split screen because some games still do that these days, more than like most. And yeah, as I was saying, you can turn off the announcer as an engineer as well. It tells you like with laps and things like that. Has screen shaking everything. You can reset your progress as well if you want to start from the beginning. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to end it with the credits, which is shout out to Volume Games for making such a great little masterpiece. Like I said, feel free to pick this game up, give it a try. Like I said, it's only a couple of bucks, and for an indie racing game, I think it gets more. I've got my playability out of it 10 times before. Obviously, as I was saying before, Chem Block, they're doing like a bit of industry, I think it is, for Chem Block. They also have a Discord as well for Volume Games, so you can find the developers on Discord as well, if you so desire. Yeah, feel free to submit and run to this game if you wish to do so. To be honest, I'm the only one on the leaderboards, but yeah, see what you can come up with, and you can find any strats, because I haven't found any yet. But anyway, that's been enough for me rambling. Thank you once again very much to Prevent-a-Thon for having me running their event. I think it's the first time I've ever run their event, so thank you very much. And yeah, I'll pass it back to Nick. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vibe. There's a wonderful homage to, you know, really sort of old school isometric rally games and Micro Machines. I loved Micro Machines as a kid. It's been wonderful sort of watching that style. So thank you, and it's always wonderful to hear just the vast amount of knowledge you bring to every speed game I've ever seen you do at a marathon. It's just so wonderful. Give it up for Viper one last. Give it up for Viper one last time in the chat. We are gonna go to a break. We are having our Backpack Hero triple finish run next, so it may be your last chance to get some bids in for those costumes. So we will see you in just a few minutes with that run. Go, you know, get a drink, stretch your legs, all that good stuff, and we'll see you right back here soon.